What's up, guys? It's Gilbert again. This time we're going to be doing the relocation bracket on the aftermarket intake manifold. This one here is going to be the forward facing. We do also have the black market parts stock location manifold, which retains the use of the OEM charge pipe. This is going to be the bracket that we are going to be installing on this manifold. So when you get your new bracket, it's going to look like this. It's also going to come with a pack of hardware, 10mm heads. It's going to be what's going to mount your ignition coils to the bracket itself, and we'll go ahead and do that next. Alright, so once you have your coils set up like this, you'll want to leave this one and this one off, because this is where you'll end up putting the bolts through that mount onto the port injection rail. Alright, so for this step, we're going to be removing this bolt and this bolt with a 5mm Allen. For this vehicle, I've actually had the vehicle running with the port injection setup, so you got to be careful because the line is pressurized and the rail is probably going to pop off if you're not careful. So I want to keep this pressed down, and hopefully the rail doesn't pop off. But I would suggest not doing this with the rail pressurized, so you don't have any fuel spraying all over the place. Alright, like I was explaining earlier, if the line is pressurized, you got to be very careful because the rail is going to want to lift itself off. So it's not going to give you enough time to be able to mount the whole bracket onto the two bolts right there. So what ended up happening here, I wasn't able to keep it held down properly, so it ended up lifting, and now this injector has popped off and the O-ring tore. So good thing I do have a replacement on hand. So I'm going to go ahead and replace that right now. First, we're going to depressurize the line. It probably doesn't have much pressure left in it because it did lift. And this is not the tool I would recommend using, but grab a microfiber or something to protect from the fuel that's about to come out. And not much is left. So all the fuel pressure is gone, which I probably should have done in the beginning. And now we can go ahead and grab the 5mm and remove the other side of the rail, so we can replace the O-ring that busted. Usually it shouldn't take this long, because had you done the fuel depressurization, this wouldn't have happened. Alright, now we got the O-ring back in here for the injector, and we should be good to be able to mount the whole bracket onto the two rail bolts. All right, let's go ahead and finish off the coil mounting. Remember, you want to leave these two coils off, this one for cylinder 2 and this one for cylinder 5, to gain access to the bolts for the fuel rail. All right, now that we have all the coils situated here onto the bracket, we can go ahead and install the spark plug wires. You can do either one. You can do the ignition coil wires first, which are these, or you can do your spark plug wires first. I do have a other video that I made previous to this one that goes in full detail how to properly install the spark plug wires onto each cylinder. There is a bit of a trick to them. People do claim that they have misfires after they install the PR coils, but it is usually due to improper installation, which again I have gone over in that video. And if you follow that video, it's going to make it very easy for you to install the each spark plug wire. On these, you have to be careful. If you do have these pre-installed, make sure you do not mix up cylinder, for example, cylinder 2 to cylinder 1. Otherwise, you will get a misfire, but it's easily solvable. I don't even know if that's a word, but you can go ahead and swap those over if you do have a misfire. But yeah, just make sure you are following cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, so that you don't have misfires when you start it up. That is pretty much it as far as the whole installation process of getting, whether you have the stock location bracket or the relocation, which goes bolted to the 4 11mm bolts that hold the original fuel rail in place, and those would have gone here had I had the stock intake manifold. But since we have the BMP front-facing manifold with the charge pipe and the top blow-off valve, that is thrown out the door, and you have to have this set up here, which is a bracket that we now sell and we offer to the community, whether you have our manifold or any other aftermarket BKC style forward-facing or stock location manifold. All right, finally, since you guys remember, I did remove, or I had to depressurize the rail because the rail had lifted and I had to replace the O-rings. I put that all back together with the new O-ring that got pinched, which is here. You want to double check, have someone turn the car on and double check that you are not leaking any kind of fuel, because you definitely do not want that. And that right there is exactly what you don't want. Injector seals in all the injectors. Because apparently originally I thought that I had just busted this seal on injector 1, but no, there's actually way more and they were all leaking. So hit it.